welcome to the Crafty Meraki channel. In today's video, with 17 days left till Christmas, I'm participating in the Christmas countdown. My name is Tracy, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we are going to be working with this big festive floral wreath stamp today. And I'm going to make two cards because it's such a large size that I can basically cut it in half, and so I'm super happy to do that. So this is a whole one-piece stamp, and there's a coordinating die that cuts out the whole thing for you. So that's what we'll be doing here today. I'm going to grab my large stamping platform and stamp it out in some alcohol marker friendly paper. And I have gone ahead and cut a piece that's 6.5 by 8 so that I can stamp out the whole stamp. Actually, it's 6.5 by 8.5 is that piece of paper. And I'll lay my stamp on, being careful not to get too many bubbles, and trying to pull the stamp off instead of pulling the plastic off, but I didn't have any luck with that, so I'm going to try again. And because if you pull the stamp off, you have less of a chance of curling your backer piece. So I'll go ahead and lay that down in my stamping platform. And I definitely recommend a stamping platform for this because it is such a large size. And it will take several stampings. I've not used the stamp. So it will take several stampings to get it all covered. And that's normal for a large size stamp, because there's so many areas to stamp out. So I'm using an alcohol marker friendly ink and just using my rag to kind of slide along here because I can't find my slidey tool thing. And I'll go ahead and stamp that several times until it's all nice and black. And you can do any color you like, but today I will be coloring with my Ohuhu markers, so I want to make sure that I have a alcohol marker friendly ink. Use what you have. And just kind of pushing it down again, making sure that I kind of rub over all the areas. And I'll just keep going until I've got it. There's just that one little spot that doesn't want to go, and we need to be darker around our sentiments, so I'm really pounding on that ink. It's my experience with the alcohol marker friendly ink, at least this one, and especially if your ink pad probably needs re-inking, that it will take several stampings even on a simple stamp. So par for the course. And you can watercolor this. I mean, there are millions of examples out there. Well, I don't know about millions, but there are several examples out there of this particular stamp set. Watercolored, colored with markers, colored with pencils, not colored, done on colored paper, heat embossed, just all kinds of different ways you can do this. And then too, if you heat emboss it, then you don't have to, you get the color that you want on your fonts, because maybe you don't always want your sentiments black. So here I finally got it all stamped out, and I've got my markers out, and I'm going to color little bits and pieces of it, high speed, just kind of, so that you stay and watch. And I will list the colors in the description box below so that you know which colors I use, because I went pretty quick with that, showing you the colors. Choose what you want. I'm going for a sort of a muted southwest tone type situation. So I want my poinsettias to be like the white ones that aren't actually white. They're kind of a yellowy. So I've got all those done. Now I'm going to go in with these, which to me look like eucalyptus leaves. I could be completely wrong about that, but that's how they look to me, so that's the color they're getting. And I'm adding some blue, like a blue-gray to that, just to kind of get that little bit more of a blue tone, like a sagey. And those are the things you have to do if you're limited in your colors of markers, is just kind of experiment with adding color on top of color. And so I've done that. And then now I'm going to go in with these and see, this is a blue-gray. And then I'm coming in with a green, and then I'm coming in with a darker green. So that kind of gives it that little bit of a blue hue. And I'll color those all around. And then lastly, I need to kind of, I don't know what I'm showing you there, color the little berries. And I want the berries to also be the kind of white, but not, I want them to be whiter. So I'll be using my colorless blender along with the two colors to kind of just blend those out and keep the white. Bear in mind that when you're coloring with light colors and alcohol markers, they do dry back, and so they might look dark when you lay them down, but give them a chance to kind of dry before you freak out about it. My best words for you. And I'll do those all around and then I'll come back. All right, so we've got the whole thing colored. Now it's time to cut it out. So I'll go ahead and take the die out of the packaging here and get ready for it. And what I like to do is I like to take and cut a template with that on a thinner piece of paper, like maybe a 65 pound. And struggle with this a little bit, but that's nothing new. We do. It is what it is. And so what I'll do is I'll take that piece of paper and I'll cut a template and be right back. Okay, I've got my template cut out here, and what I'm going to do here is use it to kind of line up all the words, everything, and at that point I'll be able to lay my die right within. Now it takes a couple of tries for me because my tape slips and all the things, and I notice that one of them just doesn't look right. So I'll move my template around until everything is good. Let's try that again. Lay it down. Hope my tape sticks. Nope, something's wrong. Okay, let's do it again. But that's the cool thing about the template. You can keep moving it until it's perfect and then not worry about it. So then I can just lay that and it fits like a puzzle piece, and then I can tape it down so I can carry it over to my die cutting machine. So now that I have them all die cut out, you can see that everything cut out perfectly. I'm going to cut this in half so I can make two cards out of it. So I'll just use my trimmer and kind of eyeball where I want it. And we can start with the first card. So here I've got a piece of glitter cardstock, and then I've got this piece of sort of a teal green. It's not going to stay teal green. I'm going to use some ink to color that so that the color kind of more coordinates with the darkness of my poinsettia leaves or my holly leaves, whatever kind of leaves are on there. And so what I want to do is I'm going to grab a white top folding card base. Actually, that's a cream colored one. And it's not exactly cut perfectly, so I'm going to fix that. No problem. And just trim it off, and then I'll go ahead and glue down this matte layer. And that's ready to go. Now I want to pop up my poinsettia wreath here onto this glitter cardstock. And it's handy, and this is a low profile, it's only 1 millimeter. It's handy to use a foam tape, especially if you're working with glitter cardstock, because you can get it to stick to more surface. And the glitter cardstock is sort of a champagne color-ish. I don't know. It's definitely not white, but it's not yellow either. So cream, maybe it's a cream color. I don't know. I like it. Then I'm going to use the Warm Winter Wishes, and I will pop those partially up. Well, are you getting excited about Christmas? I don't know. We'll see. I don't shop for Christmas at all. Gift cards are the gift of order and have been for years. My kids are all grown, and you don't know what to buy them, especially when they don't live with or near you. You don't know what they have or don't have. At least that's my case. I did one year make some handmade, because I crochet, I made some handmade crochet, I don't know, shawls, I guess, for my daughters-in-law. I don't know if they liked them or not. They never said. So I don't make handmade gifts anymore for them. I'll just get them a gift card and call it done. So I'll use these little black, like halfback pearls, just to kind of bring in the blacks with kind of the rules of 3, because I have black sentiments. And there's that card done. We'll just add a little bit of glossy accents to the little berries and to the center of the poinsettia and move on to the next card. So I'm going to use some distress spray here. And I'm going to get out my little mat here, and then you see me move my mat because I changed my mind. I'm using here some bundled sage, and I'm really kind of watering that down. And then I'll give it a good dry, and I will just blot off any of the excess with a clean paper towel. So I want this to be fairly light in color. And then I'm going to splatter on just with the little let's get that big blob off of there with the little applicator, the pine needles color. So again, I don't need a lot. I'm going for, you know, kind of, I don't know, minimal. Then I'll use this media gloss and get some more. And if you get big blobs, just tap them off real quick. And then I'm going to use my brush because I'm getting too many big blobs with my with the applicator. And then I'm going to use this kind of platinum color. Just water it down really well and tap that on. And you won't be able to see it that well on camera because it doesn't really shine. It doesn't get its big shine until it actually dries. So that's ready to go. And here I've got my wreath. And I'm going to go ahead and use some of my cookie dough ink. And I want to tone down the white on there. And so using the cookie dough doesn't really change the color at all of what you've done. It just kind of tones it down. And then I've cut a second one and colored it with some bundled sage distress oxide to create a little bit of a shadow layer for this. Just for something different. And I kind of like the way it looks because it kind of gives it that added dimension. It looks like it's sitting up on something when it's really not. And then I'll just trim off the excess because that will be at the edge of the card front. And see, once I stick that down, now I do want to trim this down, and I do trim it down to 5 by 3 3/4. And sometimes you just don't want to go too crazy with your splatters. Mostly mine are the platinum color. And then I'm going to go ahead and use this cookie dough ink just to bring it all together. And like I said, you can barely see it, and that's the plan. And just kind of go along the edges. Okay, so then I will pop this up on a little bit of foam tape as well, I think. Ugh, now I can't remember if I popped it up or not. Let's see. Well, sorry about the pause in the video. There we go. I think I want to stick this down first. So oftentimes when I pop things up, I want to make sure that, now I'm kind of going along the edge, by the way, interruption while I tell you what I'm doing. Just to kind of darken down that edge a little bit. And then I'll stick this down to the card base because if I'm going to pop something up, generally I like to pop it up last. So I'll stick that down to another cream color card base. And then we'll put our wreath on. And I'm just going to lay something heavy on there and kind of let that dry while I get my little foam strips. And these are also very low profile, about 2 millimeters. And I've pulled the backer off so it'll bend around easily for me. Then I of course use some liquid glue because I can't aim straight to save my life. And we'll just go ahead and glue that down and make sure it's nice and straight on that edge. And all I have left to do then is to add my sentiment. And I'm going to use the word joy. And I'll go ahead and use my cookie dough ink again to kind of just tone that down a little bit. Yes, happy with that. It almost looks like it's sitting on vellum, huh? Then we'll go ahead and use these little teeny tiny 1 millimeter foam squares. So I can get that popped up. Kind of hard to pull those off. You got to make sure that those are stuck down really well. We'll get those little backers pulled off eventually. And then I'll add some liquid glue again so that I have a little bit of wiggle room. And I usually grab my tweezers to help me lay something down straight. And there we go. Now we've got our sentiment on. We are going to go ahead and add the glossy accents onto the berries again and to the centers of the poinsettias. By the way, those other things, I think they look like cotton bolls. I live in the South, and that's kind of what cotton bolls look like. So that's how I colored them. So here are both cards. I hope you like it, and here are some still images. Thanks so much for visiting the channel, and don't forget to leave a comment down below and thumbs up. We appreciate you. Have an awesome day. Merry Christmas.